Hello, welcome to Gabie's Knit Goodies. Join me on my back deck here, and I'll talk a little bit about my knitting and also a little bit about my camping trip. I have a cup of coffee, and I make like 4 ounces of strong coffee, and I have one of those Ninja coffee makers where it has the like milk frother you can use, and then I put a little cinnamon. Can't really tip it, it's quite full. I like to sprinkle a little cinnamon on top, especially in the fall, because I love the fall. So like I said, I'm on my back deck, which I'm not sure if I've podcasted back here much. If I have, it's been quite some time. And I live basically in the woods, so there are a lot of bird noises and squirrel noises and just animals and bugs in general. So hopefully that won't ruin the sound quality of this video. Yeah, hopefully you like the outdoors noises. Most of the time I do, unless it's too much, I guess. I forgot my main thing I need to show, so I'll have to go get that in just a minute. But my biggest project, I actually took off the needles the night before last. I bound it off. I have not woven in all of my ends yet, but it is super exciting to get that off the needles, because I've been very monogamous with it, because I've been very excited to have it off the needles for when it's nice and cool. In fact, even though all the ends aren't woven in, I wore it last night while I was sitting on the couch knitting on this. So since I finally got the sweater off the needles, which I will go get and show you guys here in just a second, I have picked back up, while I was at horseback riding for my daughter yesterday, the Habitation throw. And I added in this bright color that was a color experiment that I did while dyeing the other weekend. Yeah, I know it's bold, but it does make me smile. And it's not really, I mean, it's not a garment. It's a throw, so it can just be fun, right? And if I lay it on a chair or something and I don't want the bright color to show, I could kind of have that folded under and have the rest of it. But I don't know, I really like it. I don't know if it necessarily goes like matches with everything else in here, but I don't care. It's just, it makes me smile and it's fun to knit on, and I really like it. So this is a minis collection that I have in the shop. Spring is near, and this is some of my mohair, and this is on I think it's called a Twizzler. It's a Swedish thing you can put your yarn on, your yarn ball cake on, and it spins. So if you like hold it on your arm or you put it on something, it'll spin freely. I found it worked really well when holding the two yarns together. So let's see, most of it's in the shot. It's getting fairly big. I am reducing, and I have no real rhyme or reason for how wide my colorways are, except for all of it except for this color. I've either used 10 grams or 20 gram mini skeins. The mohair, and this one I just used leftover from a cardigan project, so I had more of that. So this was just a 10 gram, and of course when you're using the same amount of yardage but a different place in it, you're going to get either thicker or narrower stripes because of the width of your rows. So right now my rows are pretty long, so my stripe for this 10 gram mini is pretty thin. But because I was so bold, I didn't want it super thick. But like here, I had a 20-gram mini, and that stripe here is just really quite wide. Whereas then the next 20-gram mini just goes from here to here. So it definitely depends on where you are in your project. Now you could just do a certain number of rows for each colorway and then rotate it that way. But I just decided not to worry about that. I have been having fun picking this one back up. Very mindless, easy to do. Habitation throw by Helen Stewart. I think she's Curious Handmade on Instagram. And all my yarns. Okay. I think I'm going to add mohair to it after that stripe. Some more of the white mohair. And then I'm going to put in the strawberry lemonade. And this is a 20-gram. Okay. I'm going to go get my project I just took off the needles. Let's see, it's mid-morning and it's actually still pretty cool out here today. It got quite cool last night, so this morning was like low 50s Fahrenheit, which, I mean, it's fall, so, but it's just mid-September. So anyways, I enjoy the cool mornings, but it's supposed to get up to like 87 degrees, which is very like summertime weather. So, not looking forward to that. I'd prefer nice, cool fall weather all day long. So, the big reveal here is the Ghost Horses sweater. There we go. I think I got it all in there. With the long sleeve option instead of the short sleeve option. And I knit a size 6. So, I'm not going to go into all of the details for this sweater right now, because I want to give it its proper due and put all of the information in one video and just talk about this sweater because I love it. And it's Caitlin Hunter's pattern, Boyland Knitworks, Ghost Horses sweater, all knit out of my yarn, Coffee with Cream and Mexican Hot Chocolate. And like I said, I knit the long sleeves and I knit a size 6, which is a few sizes larger than what my measurements would be. When I do a full video on this, I'm going to take measurements here before blocking and after blocking, as well as my gauge, and talk about all the details in terms of yarn usage and some video footage of it as well on me. Although I might try it on for you guys right now. I do have a good amount of yarn left, which I was surprised about. I don't know, I mean, it's definitely over 20 grams a piece left, and I knit a size 6 with long sleeves. And I originally had 4 skeins, 2 of each color. So, I will weigh things as well before I do a finished object video. But I really wanted to go ahead and get a video out this week because I have been working on getting the habit of doing a video every week. And it becomes easier for me when I do it every week and more natural, I guess. And I just, I like it when the other podcasters are consistent, the ones I watch. So I'm trying to do that as well. Because when you go to sit down and knit and have a cup of coffee and you want to watch somebody else talk about their knitting too, it's nice to have a new video to watch. So I'm trying. Anyways, it's beautiful and I love it. And it fits quite well. The only thing I'm nervous about with this sweater is that when I block it, the sleeves might get too long because I was afraid of short sleeves, so I wanted to make sure it was that they were plenty long. So I want to not aggressively block it. I want to gently block it. The sleeves I have on in my t-shirt are kind of bulky, so that my sleeves kind of remain the length they are now, because because I really like the length they are now. In fact, I'm considering steam blocking it instead of wet blocking it. My color work is not really puckering. It might smooth it out just a tiny bit if I block it, but I don't really need like to stretch it and pull it to get things to even out. I've gotten a lot better with knitting color work and not having it pucker. Okay. So I did knit everything to pattern for the size 6. I don't think I modified anything. I just did the long sleeve variety as opposed to the short sleeve one. But as you can see, it's pretty, very, very pretty, and my sleeves are kind of balloon sleeves, and then the cuff is narrower so it doesn't hang out over my hands, but the cuff isn't too tight. One of the problems I've had in the past is knitting my cuffs too tight, and then they're not comfortable around my wrist, and so then I don't really want to wear it. But now, one thing I had trouble with my second sleeve is it's very, very simple pattern repeat here on the sleeve. Like you have 2 rows of this little pattern and then 2 rows of this little pattern. So yeah, like right here, 2 rows of this one and then 2 rows of the little pluses here. And then that repeats over and over again. Super simple, right? But because they're so similar, like one you start off doing 1 1 1 1 all the way around. The other one you start off doing like 3 1 all the way around. Because it's so simple, I just didn't pay attention on the second sleeve. I think I messed up a couple times here, but not very many. But on this sleeve, I messed up so many times, I actually had to rip it out. Some of them I left, where instead of doing like 2 rows of these and 2 rows of these, like here I have 3 rows of these here and 2 rows here, and then I accidentally shortened one of these things so it's not quite the right size, and yeah, I had ended up messing it up so much. At one point in time I had to rip 3 rows back, and I don't typically rip things back, but I didn't want one sleeve to look totally different than the other. And to me, I had messed up so much at one point in time I had to rip back. But other than that, it's pretty easy and enjoyable knit. And I will talk all the technical details as well as some finished object photos and videos soon in its own finished object video. But I love it, and it's next to Skin Soft. It just makes me so happy. That is all the knitting I'm going to talk about right now, but I did want to talk to you guys about my camping trip, and also why my logo is the way it is. So if you see my logo, I have GKG, and of course that stands for Gabie's Knit Goodies. Gabie is my name, short for Gabrielle. And quite a while ago, I used to bake a good bit and decorate cakes and cupcakes, and I had Gabie's Goodies as like my little name for that. When I started doing more, my dog is trying to come outside. When I started doing more knitting and shifted gears from baking to knitting, because baking is a very, it's super fun, but it's very time constraint on that. Like you can't bake things 2 weeks in advance and then, you know, give it to the customer. And when I had my third child, I just couldn't handle the baking anymore, because it was just, it takes a lot of time to bake and decorate. And like I said, it's very time sensitive. Anyway, so I shifted to more knitting business stuff because knitting has been my obsession for quite a while, and I was getting more and more into it. And pattern writing is fun and a challenge for me. It takes a lot of time though, which I think is probably the biggest challenge for me. Anyway, so I added knit in the middle of my Gabie's Goodies to make it Gabie's Knit Goodies. But back to the camping and my logo, the little lines behind GKG are supposed to be mountains because I absolutely love fall. I love the mountains in the fall. I love hiking in the fall and camping and cooking over a campfire and roasting s'mores and knitting by the campfire, of course. And then when it's cold, being able to wear my hand knits in the mountains. Yeah. So this past weekend, it wasn't that cold, but it was pretty cool at night and in the morning. So we got to go camping and had the campfire and hiking to a little waterfall. The waterfall looks bigger in person than it does in the pictures. It's definitely more impressive in person, but it's still beautiful. We went off the Blue Ridge Parkway, and it was just super fun, and I just love it. And the weather was so perfect. Instead of satisfying my desire to camp this fall, it just made me want to go camping more. So we're going to try to go again here shortly, hopefully in October, which is always my request for my birthday, is to go camping. So I was born in October, so I think that's part of the reason why I love the fall so much. So anyways, that is why I have the little mountains behind GKG, because the mountains and camping and hiking are just my favorite thing in the world. So, and I think knitting fits right into that whole mood and lifestyle of kind of slowing down and connecting with nature, and connecting in terms of knitting with like the sheep and the natural fibers and the slowing down as opposed to the fast fashion. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I hope you've enjoyed some of the pictures here of our camping trip. If I have any more that I haven't put up, I will put them up at the end here. And I'll also put up some of the yarn that I have in the shop. I hope you guys like it and check it out. And I appreciate all your support so far with my patterns as well as with my yarn. Yeah. Oh, one more thing. I have a thread on Ravelry titled Ask Me Anything. And I would really love to hear what you guys would like me to talk about and the questions you have for me, whether they be knitting or not knitting. Ask me anything. And then when I get a number of questions there, I will put it up and just probably have it as part of another podcast. I doubt I will get enough anytime soon to have it as a separate episode. So, yeah. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and that you're able to go outside and listen to the birds wherever you are. If not, I hope you have enjoyed the birds here and they haven't been annoying. Bye.